listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's MasterChef After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's MasterChef After Show.
Where's that music? Yeah! Rock Lobster! Guys, come on, thank you. Thank you for joining us. This is the MasterChef After Show here at AfterBuzz TV for Season 5, Episode 4, 18. The top 18 compete. I am your host, Stephen Lemiuex, joining you tonight from AfterBuzz TV in Los Angeles with my amazing co-host, Traci Propst.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Unfortunately, we do not have Kyle Kittleson in studio tonight. He was doing some surgery in his mouth, I think,
Dental
or something.
work.
Crazy. Yeah, that's what he says.
He says.
That's what he says, but we don't know. Tonight's episode was pretty good, pretty crazy, and it starts off with a pretty awesome kind of challenge. I really like that.
I did too. That was a great mystery box.
So they open up the mystery box, which is alive with mystery, and it is just a buoy bag full of live, fresh seafood.
Yes, like still moving fresh out of the water.
But like not even just like the generic, like, oh, we went to the store and bought like a live lobster, like fresh out of the ocean, scallops, oysters, clams, lobster, crab, shrimp, like not even shrimp, prawns.
Yeah,
like the big ass shrimp. I loved it. I thought that was a great thing. And I think, honestly, any chef who got that, anyone who can call themselves a chef, would be able to make something amazing with that.
Right.
And especially with the colors of the animals they gave them, they could have done something phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree.
Perfect thing to do is as soon as you get those heads, just boil them. Start boiling them.
Right.
Season that, make something delicious. And of course, chef says, let's make a stew. Like a stew would be the basic thing to do because you can really just cook all the flavor out of the parts of the shell and then use the meat as a good accent to that flavor. So what did you think of the start of this competition? When you saw this competition, who did you think was going to be a real front runner? Because I thought Dan Wu would be a much bigger front runner than he was.
Yeah, it was really interesting because Joe Bastianich said right off the bat that any chef who's a good chef knows how to work with live seafood. And I thought that was a very interesting comment to begin with because I'm like, really? Like, does that mean like you're a bad or a good chef whether you know how to work with live seafood or not? I mean, that to me was very like an odd statement to make. But I definitely thought Dan Wu, obviously I was going for like Big Willie. He has like the southern thing going on. He like, you didn't hear much about him.
You didn't even see his dish.
Yeah.
You didn't see his donuts.
He was not a front runner for anything.
I'm surprised he wasn't a front runner for donuts because he made those tea cakes. He was so good at the dessert.
Yeah, he was. Maybe he was just getting a lot of camera time, and we saw people that I really still didn't even really know were on the episode tonight. So that was interesting. Kira, she was one of the people in the limelight.
Aaron, Ahran, was the name, and she's the. We're introduced to her as the youngest competitor on MasterChef.
Yeah, she's 18.
She's 18. She's very young, and it shows.
Yeah. In
her personality and the way she talks about other people. Which, you know what, it's a different aspect of the show. It is reality, and of course, there's going to be that drama, but it kind of is off-putting to a point.
Right.
Especially when you don't go claiming people are doing favoritism in a show like this. It's like,
yeah,
really.
It's like I think Kyle said like last week. He said, you really don't have to speak to anyone in this episode. You really don't have to bicker and get into any arguments. Everything, like the proof is in the food. So it's when people go out of their way to create drama that like came out of nowhere, I just feel like that shows her immaturity. So
yeah, and she can cook really well. Of course, she makes this seafood stew. It's got white rice in the middle. She uses the prawns. She uses I forgot what the spice was, but it apparently comes together really well.
Yeah. And
the top contenders for this competition are her with that. What was his name?
Francis B.
Francis B. with
the Moroccan herb.
That looked amazing.
That looked so good. He did a great job with that. And then Christian, who had like the Creole barbecue shrimp.
Let me just say, Christian, yes. Yes. When you the first time you said shrimp and grits, I was sold. I was like, you better be in the top for this, because you cannot be a self-respecting chef from around the South, from New Orleans, without being able to make a good shrimp and grits.
Yeah, like great. Like, I'm surprised he didn't do like more of a gumbo, but I mean, what he did was,
oh, great.
I was just expecting a gumbo from him, I think.
You know, I think the problem with doing a gumbo is it would have taken way too long.
That's true. They only had 90 minutes.
Yeah, because you really need to cook that gumbo for a long time to get those flavors mixing. But like for what he did, I saw that and I was like, I would order that.
Yeah.
I would order that in a heartbeat. And it was like a fusion.
All of them.
Yeah. The seafood was probably the most delicious looking competition I've seen on the show this season so far.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And I'm not even like a lobster guy.
See, I love seafood. It's like my favorite type of food. So I was like salivating over every dish that they had. So I would have ordered everyone. I think my favorite was probably Francis B's, like his presentation. I loved how he put that together, and I don't know, that's the one I really like wanted to eat.
Well, that's the one that seemed like it would have been served to you at the table just like that.
Yeah.
You would have had the baguette coming out of the side, you had the lobster, or was it the lobster? Or you had like the mussels and the clams and scallops and everything. It was phenomenal. It looked great, and I kind of wanted to eat it, and it made me super hungry to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't think Courtney's dish looked great. They kept zooming in on it, and I just saw like this one little mushroom just sitting on top of like a pile of chopped up crab and stuff in like a light broth, and I was like, you know, that just kind of looks basic.
Yeah, I wasn't in that big plate and that little portion. I don't know. A little bowl. I was like,
And then the other dish that they highlighted was. Why can't I remember it? Or was it only 2 for this competition?
Well, they had the 3.
They had
the 3, and that was it.
Okay. And then, so then there's of course, Aaron is chosen as the winner. Because it makes sense for a reality show to have a very young competitor win a competition. Plus, it looked really good. I'm surprised she got the rice right, but I guess you learn to cook rice well first off.
Right.
I can never get down rice though. Like, honestly, I mess it up every
I feel like
time.
it was part of her culture though. Like, I feel like she like learned rice like very, and she said the dish that she replicated was her mom's dish. Oh
yeah, she used the taste samples from everything she grew up with.
Right.
So yeah, it was fairly impressive to see her use the seafood in that manner and actually make a very good dish that Chef Ramsay even was like, this was one of my favorite things I've eaten ever.
Yeah, he did say those exact words too. So that's a huge compliment.
And you know how you can tell we're getting further in the competition? When you see that they choose the top 3 and you see Ramsay and you see Bastianovich eating second bites. Like with Francis B's dish. He's like talking to him and he's just eating another bite. Eating another bite. And he's like, I could eat this for a day. Yeah, you could.
Because you are.
Still eating it now. Leave some for the rest of them. Jeez.
Yeah.
So she gets taken back to the pantry and her, of course, the reward for winning this challenge is she gets to choose out of 3 foods which one they're going to be cooking for the competition, as well as a second part that we actually don't find out about till later. But of course, she doesn't have to cook.
Right.
That's what she wins. She's safe.
Yes.
So the choices are the muffins.
Yeah, muffins.
Which anyone can make.
Right. I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah. Cookies.
Yeah.
Which anyone can make.
Right.
And donuts, which are a total bitch to make.
Which no one can make.
Ever tried to make donuts?
Yeah.
Get out.
Right. They did that one on purpose. They set it up so that she would pick the donuts. Let's be honest. Like, if they would have had like a tiramisu or something else in there, you would have been like, all right, maybe I should. But muffins, cookies, and really?
I can't wait for the day when they're like, you're going to make a chocolate souffle.
Right.
And that'd be the day everyone goes home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then if you oversalt it, Courtney, you're gone in a heartbeat.
Let's talk a little bit about her talking about Courtney.
Yeah.
Like in the pantry to the judges. So
I want to make that bitch go home. She's like, I don't like fake ass bitches from my high school. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Like, and she had so much like wrath. Like, you could tell it was like her past coming forward. Like, she obviously Courtney reminds her of some girl who was mean to her in high school. Like, that's what it is. But to tell the judges, it's one thing when you're in your confessional and you're just telling everyone, like, I get that part. But to tell the judges, I think that just shows such poor character. And especially because they like Courtney. We know they like Courtney as a cook. Like,
It's the thing is like she's hard to root. Aaron's hard to root for after this, just for the sole purpose of because it showed her immaturity. I would never give her $250,000.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're not ready for that amount of money. And then when you look at somebody who and she's calling a competitor fake, when really Courtney's been fairly honest from the beginning. Hey, I used to be a stripper.
Right.
Like, hey, like I used to do this and I'm trying to change that. And I cook really good stuff except for donuts.
In my 6-inch Louis Vuittons. Like, she
wears heels. Yeah, she wears
day.
makeup while she cooks. She looks good while she cooks. All right, but she cooks well.
Yeah.
And she's good competition. So you don't call her fake for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you might be a little bit jealous.
That's what it was. I'm telling you, she reminded her of someone, but like just the way she handled it was completely outrageous. And she basically said she picked the dessert that she picked to like get Courtney eliminated, which I really didn't know how that made sense. How do you know what Courtney does and doesn't know how to make? But I mean, no one knows how to make donuts, but
I think it's because nobody knows how to make donuts.
Right.
Honestly, like you tell me to make donuts, I'd be like I haven't researched it. Like I've never made donuts before, so I really wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So I can't believe honestly how well the people in this competition did. I feel like there's a MasterChef book where they're just like, learn everything in this book because we might throw it at you.
I know. It's like the things that you would have to know, like it's crazy. And as like Big Willie said, like they have no recipes to refer to. So it's either you know it or you don't. But I guess you would watch other people around you. I was thinking about that as I was watching it. I'm like, are people like copying other people? Because if you literally get like chosen to do something and you have no idea, what are you going to do? I'm going to look at what everyone else around me is doing. I'm going to look at what ingredients they're putting together and I'm going to try to figure it out.
I know, but even then, working with yeast, have you baked anything requiring yeast? Okay, usually people use a bread maker. But when you like make bread by hand and you use yeast, you have to let it rise. You have to make sure you don't oversalt it. You have to make sure you don't cook it too high. You have to make sure you, for donuts, you scald them. Well, anytime you work with yeast, it is a bitch. It is entirely annoying if you don't do it every day and you don't know exactly how to do it. Like I've only worked with yeast probably 6 or 7 times in my life. And every time I'm just nervous the entire time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work?
Does it work?
And like maybe probably 2 of those times it didn't because I messed it up.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Plus when you're on such a time crunch and it's literally, hey, you're making donuts, go get the stuff. Make sure you have enough yeast. Make sure you have enough this. And then she forgot to put in what was it?
Courtney, she didn't have enough yeast.
No, she didn't put her eggs in.
Well, she didn't have enough yeast. She was running around asking if anyone had yeast to give her.
No, she had enough yeast, but she forgot to put her eggs in, so she had to remake the entire thing.
Oh, gotcha,
and she didn't have enough yeast to make it again. So lo and behold, we have Mr. Francis.
Francis L.
Francis L, the scientist
rescue.
cook, the music video director, throwing her the yeast.
Now, would you have given her yeast? Now, this is a competition. You are helping a competitor out. But at the same time, I mean, she doesn't even have enough stuff to make the product to even have a chance. So do you give her, I mean, everyone else said no. No one was even thinking twice about it.
I don't think anyone else actually had extra yeast.
I mean, but we'll never know. Because how did he and no one else did?
Because he grabbed everything. Because he was going to make 12 of every type of donut. Because he was going to go balls out and do the craziest freaking thing in the world, which worked. And I was actually happy for it.
Okay, but do you give her yeast?
You know, it's a tough question. You know what? You guys should tweet us whether you think you should give a use. You can tweet me at Stephen Lemiuex, StephenLemiuex, or Traci at
TRACIPRO. Or, oh, wait, that's my Instagram. Yeah. TRACIABTV.
I was like, you changed it? No, no. Tweet us. Let us know what you think. Like, should Francis have done it? Because, you know, there's also the other side. Like, okay, he doesn't give her yeast, but is that still the kiss of death, or do they let her slide? Because they could have pulled the whole reverse thing. In a kitchen, you have to work together, and you had yeast and didn't help your fellow chef.
Yeah.
I mean, they could. It's TV. Whatever the producers want, the producers get. And if that's how they want to spin the story, I mean, they could have made it like a good feeling, like, you should have helped her out. You need to help out the people in need.
Right.
I'll just say she's lucky as a mofo that, like, he had yeast to give her, and that he did give it to her. Because they honestly could have just said...
I wonder if they would have gotten rid of her, though. That would have been interesting, because she's such a character in this, like, season that I don't think they would have gotten rid of her.
But you know what? It goes to show that she's not a fake-ass bitch.
Right.
Because honestly, if everyone in the kitchen hated her, nobody would have given, like, Francis wouldn't even have given her yeast. But like the fact that people are at least answering to her, and he actually has it for her, and he's nice about it, means that they don't hate her.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to like absolutely hate Courtney aside from the fact that she's good competition.
Right. And then you see Aaron up in the balcony being like, he just ruined my entire plan. I'm like, your whole plan to get rid of Courtney was donuts. Like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
This ain't Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the strategy to a point, but really, like, there's no strategy. Just shut up and cook well.
Yeah.
That's your strategy.
So then talk about the second part, what she got to do.
So the second part was she got to go downstairs, look in all the boxes of donuts, and be like, I want to take you up to the balcony with me. And we're going to have some fun watching these people get voted off.
Right.
And, of course, you know, a top contender, Francis B., at this point, his dough didn't rise. And that's what happens when you work with yeast and you're not used to working with yeast. Your dough doesn't rise. You are on a time crunch. You can't make it again. So he made donut holes, donut balls, whatever you want to call them. And lo and behold, he's like, I am done without you. I am done. Like, he whispered to her, he's like, I'm done. Like,
yeah.
I have no hope. So she decides to bring him up to the balcony because she can save one person, which, you know what? The way she was explaining it was dumb, but the way she did it was smart.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying.
Like I'm saying she should have looked at Courtney as the worst and the second worst and said, you're the second worst, so if you're not down here, that means Courtney's the only one who can go home. Mm-hmm. That's how she should have phrased it, but she phrased it in another way that was like, it ends up with the same result, but it just makes you seem like you don't know what you're talking about. Like it was an accidental happenstance.
Right.
I don't believe that he would have gone home.
No, he definitely would have been in the bottom 3, but they definitely weren't going to send him home.
He would have needed to, I think, honestly, what he should have done, he should have plated it, or did they have to go up in the box with 12 dozen donuts?
It had to be in a box, and he was already told that his donut holes look like meatballs, not like donuts. So, there was no hope for him, to be honest. He was going to be in the bottom 3. Would he have gone home? Probably not, but he was in the bottom 3.
Because a risk, if he had had enough, a risk would have been to make like bonbons and like take a stick and put 3 on it and then create a glaze that he could just drizzle over that and then plate it in the box. If he had enough dough, he could have done 12 sticks of those. And then it's more of like a carnival treat, like candy treat where the kids would like get 1, they get 3 with 1.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's actually a very popular thing in like Asia and things like that and places like that. So that would have probably saved him.
A little bit,
I think he could have done that if he thought of it.
Right.
But he probably just didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
These 90 minutes to make that is ridiculously hard if you're not used to it.
Right.
So she, of course, saves him. He's like, thank God. And I'm kind of happy because I do like Francis B. He's a good competitor. He makes good food. And, of course, when the seafood competition, he's a solid, strong competitor, which that's what it was. Her strategy was like, I want to take a weaker competitor up with me so I can beat the weaker people because I know I can beat them. When, girl, you were up against him in the first round, and he was like second place.
She was like running around with what she was trying. I'm not sure. I mean, if that's what you got from it, great. Because I was not sure what she was trying to say. She was like, and I want to compete against the strong people, so I'm going to do this with the weak people. So I'm taking him up with me because I want to be with the strong people.
No, her reasoning was she wanted to take the weak people up so she'd only have to fight the weak people. And she could also get rid of Courtney. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, you did the right strategy by taking the only other weak person aside from Courtney up so she has a chance of going home, but he's not a weak competitor.
Right.
By any means. Francis, from 4 episodes, has shown flying colors that he is a hell of a chef, and he is one who could create a menu for a restaurant that would blow your mind away.
Yeah.
Especially a seafood restaurant at this point.
Right. He did awesome.
So, I don't know. You're Aaron, we don't hate you. We don't dislike you. We actually think you're a really talented chef, but boom with that attitude. Like, seriously, cool that off, because it just makes you, I mean, it's not like you can go back and change anything you've done on the rest of the season.
Right.
But, that's going to just piss a lot of people off, and it's going to be really irritating, and nobody would hire you in a restaurant if that's how you're going to be talking about people.
Right, exactly.
Sorry to say it, but
she'll grow up, though. I really do think it has something to do with her age, so
yeah.
She is the youngest.
She is the youngest. And then we had, of course, I do want to shout out Little Gordon.
Little Gordon.
Little Gordon, who at the beginning of the episode we find out he was sick. He was going to get better, but he is unfortunately not returning to the competition.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling we'll see him on MasterChef 6.
That's a good.
It's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Like Hell's Kitchen, they did that with Bobby from 5 seasons back. He almost had like a heart attack or something because he was overweight. He went out of the competition. He came back 1 or 2 seasons later, a little bit skinnier, and he did very well, like final 3, I think. So, yeah, I mean, that sucks to hear. I mean,
Yeah,
that'd be a really...
Hope he gets better.
Yeah, that'd be a really bad way to go out of competition.
Yeah.
Probably something like appendicitis or something that'll take you out for a week, but you can't, like, come back after that.
Right. So the 3 weakest donuts were Kira, right?
Kira was one of the 3 weakest. Courtney was one of the 3 weakest, and Cutter.
And Cutter, now my favorite thing is when they were taking them up to the chefs and they'd be like, try this filling. And none of them had filling. I was so confused by that. Like, you would probably know more than I would. Like, is it getting absorbed while it's cooking? Is it shrinking? Like, they were all like, I swear I put filling in and nothing is showing up. He said it looked like she had a Kaiser roll. That's what Joe said.
Oh my God. I think the worst thing about filling donuts, if your donuts are too dry, it doesn't have enough elasticity for the filling to actually go in. It'll just burst out the side. But if it's not cooked enough, it's just not going to be crispy and it's going to turn into like a blob of filling and donut and dough.
Right.
So like the problem they were having is they probably cooked their donuts a little bit too much, which means he was pushing it in and he was feeling it go in, but it wasn't actually filling the donut at all. It was just going into the donut to the point where it couldn't move anymore. And
it was just being absorbed.
No, it wasn't even being absorbed.
So where was it going?
It wasn't going anywhere. He was putting pressure on the bag and it felt like it was going in.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't because it was too dense. And when you're holding a fragile thing like that, you know, you think you're doing it, but really you're just focusing on, please don't pour out of the holes of the donut. Right.
That's true. And if you've never done it before, you don't really know what to be expecting to do. And they did say Courtney's donuts were really dense and salty and gross. I mean, to be honest,
he used sugar instead of salt.
Yeah, he spit it out. Ramsay did.
And they looked good.
Yeah, they didn't look bad. They were like, well, you tricked us with that one, so thanks a lot. Like,
you know what, Courtney? You have a future business in selling prank donuts.
Yeah.
You know, you could do that, right?
Or Kaiser rolls, like Bastianich called them.
Was it hers that was the Kaiser roll?
Mm-hmm.
No, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't Kira's, was it?
I think it was Kira's. Because Kira had
maybe it
Courtney
was
didn't
Kira's
have any
had
stuff.
the Kaiser rolls. Okay, so it was Kira. Kira had the Kaiser rolls.
And then lo and behold, who's amazing at making donuts?
Leslie.
Like what?
Yeah. The Malibu Sunshine was what he called them.
They looked so good too.
I honestly, like, I was sitting there watching and I was like, oh my gosh, like, done. Like, he just found his calling. Like, if they're that good and everyone's that impressed, like, go open a donut shop in Malibu right now. Like, I'll be there tomorrow. You know,
that could be his thing too. Like making an old timey like soda shop, like soda milkshake place that sells donuts.
Right. I totally agree.
It would be all like glass and chrome and, you know, be like a shiny diner kind of place. But you go in and get your dozen donuts with blood orange sugar. I think it was what it was. No, he used an orange liqueur and orange sugar.
Yeah.
And that looked really good. And it was plain. He didn't try to do the filling.
No.
Everybody's focusing on doing the filling instead of making a sweet dough with a normal thing. Like, why is everyone trying to do a filling?
Yeah, especially if you've never done donuts before. I don't think I'd be like leaping to filling.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people try to impress too much, and the people who actually were praised in this episode were the people who were like, "Oh, you kept it simple. It's a donut.
Right.
It tastes like a freaking donut."
Yeah.
Good job.
Exactly.
You can make a donut because half these other people can't. So you're already safe.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, I was surprised with Leslie. And then his other one was like a macaroon coconut, something like that, which looked really good as well.
Yeah, all of them. His presentation, everything, and then the fact that they tasted good made it that much better. But Francis L. kind of went out on a limb with his donuts, which actually turned out to be a great thing for him.
Did you see our tweets from Francis?
No.
So we were trying to have Francis on the show, but he has a viewing party and he's actually in East Coast time.
Courtney.
So he can't really call in at like 12:20 when he's in the middle of a party with people.
Right.
So we're trying to get rescheduled for another time, but when we were tweeting to try to get him on the show, he was like, I don't know, Kyle Kittleson doesn't really like Scottish Francis. And Kyle like did a backtrack and was like, well, Stephen does. And I'm like, yeah, what's up, Francis? Now you're cooking with science. So, you know, we're trying to get him on the show. It's kind of funny. You can tell he's got that.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
He's a little bit catty.
Was I on that? Because I don't think I got that notification.
I don't know if you were.
I don't think I was, because that's hilarious.
You can be a little catty, but we know you're watching, Francis. So we definitely want you on the show sometime. We definitely want Courtney too. We want everyone who we can get to call in, because it's really cool to talk to you guys about your experiences, how you come up with these recipes just on the spot.
Yeah. And I want to talk to Francis about his fashion and what's up. I know Kyle has his little comments, but I want to know what he's doing on the side to get all those clothes, and if he's trying to start a fashion line. That's what I want to know.
Well, he's a music video director. Like, you have to be bizarrely artistic.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, usually they express themselves through their music, not so much their clothing.
Well, he's a director, not a musician.
Well, yeah, but he's a music director. Okay. So I'm saying, like, what was him wearing wings on his clothing do for him?
Hey, man, that's just a throwback to good old Elton, all right? You can't be dissing the shoulder wings.
I never diss them. I never said anything. I laugh along with Kyle because Kyle's very funny, but I'm indifferent and I want to talk to Francis about it. That's all I'm saying.
So we're just throwing Kyle under the bus?
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, Kyle. Deal with it.
Should have been here.
Anyway, yes, sadly Kyle's not here, but he will be back next week for the after show for episode 5. There was one more thing I wanted to say. What was his name? I always forget. Was it Christian? The dude who made the shrimp and grits. Why can't I remember?
Christian.
It was Christian, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Christian actually made donuts as well. Was it him that couldn't count?
No, it was Daniel.
Daniel.
Couldn't count. Yeah, Daniel was the one who had 16 in
16 good and simple donuts.
Yeah.
Good job. You
they
made donuts.
They said, did you go to school? He said, I went to art school. And he like didn't know where they were going with it. And then they're like, great, because there's 16 donuts in this dozen box. And he's like, we're like, no, 16 isn't a dozen, love. Like,
he should have been like, it's a bribe, chef.
Yeah.
Take them.
The 4 extra I know you want for them. You. But they played around with it. I could have seen them being like, you know, we gave you a certain instruction and you didn't follow, but they were like laughing, like, okay, well done. You made 16 there. Wow.
I would have lost my crap if he had been like, baker's dozen?
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh my God, you're the greatest.
Oh my gosh, that would have been hilarious. Actually, the best quote of the night would have been
the best quote of the night. But you know what? He didn't say it. So you know what? You don't get points with me.
No.
You're done. You're dead.
I went to art school.
You went to art school. You need this 250,000. Oh, I'm kidding.
Take that back. No, he's awesome. He was great. But I was very impressed with Francis L's prosciutto donut that he had them try. Like I was telling you a little bit earlier, I thought that was so risky for that to be the donut for them to try. You know, he had tons of different kinds of donuts. They were very colorful. Like one looked like it had like fruity pebbles on it. They all looked very, 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 but he's like, no, try this one, the most outrageous one. And lo and behold, Ramsey loved it. Like,
so the donut itself is a plain donut with a Guinness maple glaze and prosciutto, which, as we all know, bacon is like a big thing nowadays. Like a lot of people are putting bacon on donuts. They're making chocolate covered bacon. They're making bacon pancakes. Bacon is going in everything now, guys. Right. And then let's say alcohol is going in everything. Whiskey is a big thing with bacon. So then we have freaking Guinness with basically bacon. I mean, prosciutto is another cut of the pig, so you know it's basically the same thing, just different taste and different. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a frou-frou take on like a maple bacon donut.
Yeah.
It's a Guinness maple or like prosciutto donut.
Yeah.
Looked amazing.
It did. That was, I mean, I would have loved to try that donut, but I just thought it was so risky.
Yeah, you know what? But he chose the right one. I think it's going to bite him in the ass. Sorry, Francis. It's going to bite you in the ass to actually be doing too much. You're trying to do too much. You had 90 minutes to make that. You could have made that donut and that donut alone and won this competition.
Yeah.
Or you could have made that donut even better by focusing on it. But doing 12 different types of donuts was very risky, and, you know, high risk, high reward. But honestly, when they're only going to try one, you know, the presentation could have killed you. Because, you know what, I opened that donut box and, you know, I see all these donuts, but when they're all together, it kind of looks like a freak show in a way.
Right.
Like, you don't want Like maybe like when I go get a dozen donuts, you know, I'll get like 4 of this type, 4 of this type, 2 of this type, and you know what? Maybe like 3 bizarre different ones, like maybe like a maple peanut or something like that, and then like the sugar cinnamon and then something crazy. I'm not going this. Yeah,
that just looks like you have OCD or something. Like you're very like undecisive. Like,
well, it makes it look like you want to try all these donuts, so you got 12 donuts for yourself.
Right.
And nobody does that.
Yeah.
Or at least if they do that, they try to hide it better than that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they all look delicious, but honestly, I think you got to watch that because showing off has been known to break bones and showing off has been known to get you kicked out of this competition. Just look at the woman who put couscous in meatloaf because she thought it would be good.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Meatloaf and couscous.
Still not her.
It's a no.
Speaking of donuts,
I can't eat them because I'm listening to tips in this book, which is Maria Menounos' Guide to Diet and Fitness, the Every Girl Guide to Diet and Fitness. In stores now. You can buy it on Amazon.
donuts is not in here, guys. So if that's what you're looking for, which you shouldn't be.
Actually, though, honestly, though, there are great tips. It doesn't change your diet. It changes your lifestyle. So, you know, if you want to have a donut here and there, or if you want to have pizza, Maria loves pizza.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I don't think she could live without pizza, but she still has those abs.
Yes, she does.
So, you know
everything in moderation. And I think that's the great thing about the book because that's kind of what it points out. So
you can have anything you want. You just have to do it in moderation. You have to take care of your body. You can't be stationary for 3 weeks in a row while eating pizza. But if you run every day, or if you do even a 5-10 minute workout every day, just to get your blood flowing, there's lots of recipes, exercise techniques you can literally do in your office chair.
yeah, she lost 40 pounds, so it works. What she's doing.
Lots of pictures for everybody likes pictures. Lots of pictures of Maria for the dudes because she's hot, and then
I like them too.
Lots of pictures of food for everyone who wants to look at a book and get hungry.
Yes, perfect. So that's Maria's book. Go buy it now. Amazon, you can get it there.
Pick it up. All right. So it's boiled down to Cutter, Courtney, and Kira. Cutter, they forgive. They're like, dude, you just messed up. Like, get back there. Like,
yeah,
like,
his look disgusting though. I'm kind of, you know, I like him and his background story, but this is like the second challenge. I feel like he's really messed up, and I'm kind of almost over him as a chef. So we'll see. But I mean, it's Cutter.
It's not very, like, I almost thought they'd rip him a new one for that, for breaking the chocolate glaze, because you got to be able to use a double boiler well. You got to mix it well and put the butter and make sure it doesn't look like crap when you're doing the chocolate glaze, because it's either too thick or it's too runny and it'll like have cracks in it and be rolling off the side of the donut, and that does not look tasty.
His did not look tasty.
Yeah, his other one did though. His other ones looked all right.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't look bad.
Meh. They were no Leslie Malibu Sunshine.
They were no Leslie Malibu Sunshine. That's correct. So he goes back. Gordon is like talking to Kira, and he says she has no passion, I think is what he said. And then she tries to make an argument for the latter, that she does have passion. And Courtney's just sitting there like, I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home. Oh my God, I'm going home. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I did so well for the first 3 episodes, but now in the 4th episode, they decided to really feature me.
Yeah.
And feature me going home.
They told her luck had kind of run out, and, you know, maybe it was just a fluke that she was doing so well.
Which I don't think it is. I think she's going to do super well.
I think they just said that just to scare her.
Drama.
Yeah, just to shake it up a little bit. But
and the chef going home on MasterChef tonight is commercial break. And the chef going home on MasterChef tonight is
Kira.
Kira, take off your apron, place it on your cutting board, and
sayonara, sister.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so they sent her home. Which
Courtney
I was
okay genuinely surprised.
Yeah, she really was.
Literally, she was like...
She had no blood in her face. She was like...
She was a ghost.
Yeah. So she was like very, very thankful.
She does not want to be a stripper again.
No,
she does not. She is fighting to be a cook.
Yeah.
Not a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kira went home. I wasn't really too sad to see her go. I didn't really know that much about her to begin with, sort of. So she left because her donuts were bad. And
then we get a nice shot of Aaron being like, they ruined my plan.
Yeah, she was, oh gosh, this girl. I can't with it, but yeah.
If I don't get that $250,000, I'm not going to be able to afford my Louboutins. I don't know. I just, be a little bit more careful with your words.
Yeah.
Because, like, if they showed that footage, I have no idea how much more footage they have that they didn't show.
She's making it very public about her and Courtney's situation. So like Courtney's probably going to be on the upper end again, and she'll probably give it back to Aaron. So, I mean, she has to remember this is a competition, and like you give what you get. And so,
yeah, if you're going to choose enemies, they're going to choose you right back.
Right. You're going to put a target on your own back.
I hope they're on better terms now.
Yeah.
Hopefully after the season, they're on better terms. Let's go ahead and move into predictions.
Yes, predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So since the beginning, we've kind of been saying that Big Willie, Courtney, and I've been saying Dan Wu, and I guess Frances B at this point are going to be the front runners for the series, for the season. Leslie's really kind of showing himself in the past episode and tonight, so I'm kind of wondering how far he might be able to go, unless he just really just pisses off Chef Ramsay. I could see if anyone's going to talk back to Chef Ramsay this season, I feel like it's going to be Leslie.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
I feel like the next person to go home is going to be Elise.
Really?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I feel like it's not even going to be like a last minute thing. It's not going to be at the end of the show. It's going to be, you really screwed this up, go.
Right, like halfway through, one of those kinds of things.
They gave her a little moment tonight when she was making fries, but that's all I saw. So I'm guessing she made something like a fish and chips-esque thing where she fried the seafood.
Yeah.
If you have live seafood that is so fresh, don't fry it.
Yeah, I hope she didn't.
I would hope not.
Ew. I'm sorry. I'm already over her. Sorry. That's going to be the person who tweets me out. And it's like, Traci doesn't like me because I've been over her since the very first episode.
I don't mind her. I just think she needs to really step it up or she's going home, because there's no reason to be there if you're not going to be impressive.
Yeah.
Because right now we got Frances outshining everybody. Frances being outshining everybody. Mm-hmm. Leslie outshining everybody. We have Willie just being the front runner all over. Courtney being the front runner all over. Now we have this young girl, Aaron, who I'm worried about. This was like a fluke because she knew those flavors so well and could make something. I think we're not going to see her in the front anymore. And then even
Leslie,
Frances L. Jumping out with something that was impressive. So I think Frances L's probably, gambling's going to be the death of him, because he likes to do high risk, high reward, but like you're going to fall hard when that doesn't work.
Right.
And when you choose the wrong donut.
Yeah.
For a metaphor, I guess, would be the way to say it. Who do you think's, okay, top 3 and winner? Who do you think?
Well, Big Willie.
And who's going home next week?
Okay. Big Willie, I think he's definitely still top 3. My opinion's kind of starting. Courtney, I think she's still probably top 3. And then I'm kind of thinking Leslie might be up there. I just feel like he's kind of gotten his attitude in check, and he's not being as dramatic as he was for the first 3 episodes. So, I mean, if he keeps this up, like just cooking and making the best of stuff he's really never done before, then I think he's going to be top 3 too. And I definitely think Elise will probably be going home next week.
My top 5 are going to be, not in this order necessarily, so don't call me out on that. Big Willie, Courtney, Dan Wu, Frances B, and Christian.
Okay, your top 3 though.
My top 3, Christian, Dan Wu, and Big Willie.
Wow.
And then I think Leslie's probably maybe in there for top 5, exchangeable with Dan Wu.
So you have a top 6.
Technically, yeah. I think the person going home next week is either going to be Elise or the redheaded girl who, I don't even remember her name.
The redheaded girl.
The one who got in a tizzy with Courtney 2 episodes ago.
Oh, yeah. Ugh, blanking on her name as well. But
yeah,
yes.
I know. We're terrible with the names, especially because
there's 18 left.
Yeah. Once it gets down to the top 5, I promise I'll be good with names. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna do it for this week's I keep wanting to say Hell's Kitchen. This week's MasterChef After Show. This has been Season 5, Episode 4, Top 18 Chefs Compete. I am your host, Stephen Lemieux. You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux, as well as doing the Strain After Show coming up on AfterBuzz TV, and 2 episodes left of Californication and Graceland Thursdays. I'm so glad Graceland on USA is back. I am hosting that with our amazing Stephanie Georgie. Where can we find you, Traci?
You can find me on Instagram at TRACIPRO or on Twitter at TRACIABTV.
And do we remember Kyle's Twitter?
At Kyle Kittleson. He doesn't get a shout out. He's not here.
He's just already in touch with all the chefs, so he doesn't need a shout out. Anyway, guys, we will see you guys next Monday for another MasterChef After Show here at AfterBuzz TV.
Thanks for joining in, guys. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.